Connecting Central Texas. This is Good Morning Texas.
A lot of people forget that we are completely dependent on rainfall, and when we don't have it, that is our water supply.
The dry and hot summer is taking a toll. Lake Belton is in stage 2 drought restrictions now. Mandatory water conservation is in effect. Good morning, I'm Joey Horta. Right now, the lake only has about 40% of the water that it can hold. Ricky Garrett works for the county. He's never seen any this bad.
It's a first for me. I've been with WCID 9 years that we've had this significant a drought in our watershed. In other words, lack of rain upstream of the lakes that supply our water.
The city of Belton is cutting back on water use. They're contacting people who are using the most water, trying to find ways to help them cut back. There's a water schedule in Bell County. Even-numbered addresses can water Sundays and Thursdays. Odd numbers, Saturdays and Wednesdays. Watering's only allowed between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. All right, let's get back to the weather right now and see what we're dealing with out there. So dry, Josh.
Yeah, so dry. And you heard a key word there in his statement. Yeah. It was the fact that it's upstream of the lake. Now, even though we had a good amount of rain east of I-35 through this spring, look what's happened out to the west. This is Lake Belton. Its watershed goes into Coryell and into Hamilton County. That's where you're under extreme drought, and the entire watershed for Lake Belton under at least severe drought. So the rain has not fallen where it is needed to fill up our area lakes. That's also caused issues with the ground. The ground, all that vegetation is dried out. We have dry air, we have breezy conditions this afternoon, and that will lead to the potential for some wildfires. The red flag warning in effect along and west of I-35. We have one in Falls County yesterday. Don't be surprised if we see more later on this afternoon. Northern counties under an excessive heat warning. Feel like temperatures up to 110, highs to 105. Officially in Waco, Temple, Killeen, we have been downgraded to a heat advisory. That means the temperatures aren't going to be as high as they were yesterday. Still, dangerous heat around with feel like temperatures around 105 to 110. We should top out close to 104 this afternoon. And Joey, that heat wave showing no signs of letting up. I have some small rain chances. We'll get to them in that 10-day coming up.
All right, Josh, so we'll see you soon. Now to Capitol Hill, where former President Donald Trump is set to be arraigned today. The special counsel says Trump conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. This is Trump's third indictment this year, and it's the most serious accusation from the federal government yet. And Wynn has the latest.
This morning, around the federal courthouse in Washington, metal barricades going up, all in preparation for Donald Trump's first court appearance here. The former president facing new criminal charges that he tried to overturn the 2020 election results, even though he knew he lost.
Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day.
Outside the court today, expected road closures and heightened law enforcement presence. The Secret Service working with Metropolitan Police, U.S. Marshals Service, Capitol Police, and other agencies telling ABC News they're confident they can ensure the highest level of safety and security for the former president.
He's going to be processed. He's going to be advised of the charges against him. He's going to enter a plea of not guilty.
Trump facing 4 new felony charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy against rights. The indictment handed down Tuesday accuses Trump of pressuring his former Vice President Mike Pence to reject legitimate electoral votes on January 6th. Trump's attorney on CNN arguing his client's request wasn't criminal.
And the final ask that Mr. Trump made to Vice President Pence was simply pause the voting.
Pence firing back.
It wasn't just that they asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes.
Obama-appointed Judge Tanya Chutkan will preside over this case. She has handed down some of the toughest sentences so far to January 6 rioters. The former president again slamming this case as election interference.
Trump had the option to attend today's arraignment virtually, but will appear in person and be digitally fingerprinted. A mugshot is not expected to be taken. M. Wynn, ABC News, outside the courthouse.
What I can tell you for certainty is that Texas is going to take this case all the way to the United States Supreme Court to defend the rights guaranteed to us in the United States Constitution.
Governor Greg Abbott not backing down when it comes to those new buoys floating in the Rio Grande. The Justice Department is trying to get a federal judge in Austin to remove these barriers. DPS installed about 1,000 feet of these orange buoys in the river last month. There are also hundreds of feet of razor wire along the shore. The White House says the governor's border response is cruel and inhumane. Right now, an investigation is underway after a body is found stuck in the buoys near Eagle Pass. That's according to the Mexican government. DPS notified the Mexican consulate about this body, and at this point, the person's identity or cause of death are not clear. Cecily Aguilar, the woman who took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty for Vanessa Guillen's murder, will be sentenced August 14th. Guillen's family expected to be in the courtroom that day. The Army says that Vanessa was killed in 2020 at what's now called Fort Cavazos. Aguilar helped dump her body near the Leon River. A young man is behind bars in Killeen after what police are calling the city's 8th murder of the year. Police say 20-year-old Amon Gilbert shot and killed 24-year-old Richard Solomon. The killing happened July 30th at a home on East Rancier. All new this morning, the Humane Society of Central Texas is in trouble again. The shelter is full, and now they are facing another serious deadline. The staff telling me overnight the dogs may be euthanized today if they are not rescued by 9 a.m. You may remember this friendly little pit bull named Gladys. I introduced you to her 3 weeks ago. She is running out of time. Gladys is on that top 10 longest resident list. According to the staff, if she and the other dogs on the list don't get out of the shelter by 9 o'clock this morning, they might be put down.
Yes, we're in dire straits. We're in code red. We're trying to save lives. Come on down and foster or adopt.
The same situation happened last week, and the community found out and flooded the shelter lobby, adopting or fostering 14 dogs and saving their lives. So if you'd like to help out, the staff will be there at the shelter by 9 a.m. If the door isn't open, just start banging on it. Well, it's almost time to go back to school, and that means time to go shopping. Up next here this morning, how much money Americans are expected to drop this year and a few pointers on how to save.
And expect another dry and hot one out there across central Texas. There may be a few rain chances in the forecast. We'll look at that 10-day coming up.
6:10 now. Welcome back. You know, it's so hot, Josh. The ice cream man changed the sign on the side of his van to just cream. There's no ice left. That's it. It's over.
Now, that's just sad.
Isn't it?
Does it still jingle at least?
I hope so.
Because, I mean, if it got so hot that speaker isn't working, then we've got issues, man.
That'd be a problem.
Like, more issues than the weather at this point. And that is becoming an issue here. You saw the story on Lake Belton. It's not the only lake experiencing issues. We've been calculating your lake levels behind the scenes. And notice all except for Mejia. And Mejia's down too. The color's just not matching for some reason, Joey. I think the computer decided it was too hot to do the work today. Look at that, though. Everyone below normal, and in some cases way below normal. Lake Buchanan down 20 feet. Lake Waco down 9 feet. Belton you saw at 15 and 16 below at Stillhouse Howland. We really need the rain. That is not as bad as what you're seeing in Whitney and Aquila, not as bad as some of the area lakes, but still, we all need the rain. Lower 80s out there right now. This heat continuing to build. It's going to be another hot one. We do have an excessive heat warning in place for our northern counties. High temperatures will reach above 105 there from Mills, Hamilton, Bosque, and Hill in Navarre County to Waco, Temple, Killeen. We have been downgraded into a heat advisory. Now, the danger is still there. It's just a hair cooler than it will be, or than it was rather yesterday. And feel like temperatures when you take in that humidity could be close to 105, if not higher. On the other side of the coin, it's been so dry lately, and we've had the winds pick up that we're under a red flag warning along and west of I-35. Favorable conditions for spreading wildfires. Now, anyone could see a fire ignited because the ground has been so dry area-wide, but west of 35 is where we'll have the wind a little higher, and that will lead to those conditions that could spread the wildfires. Here's a look at that fire danger map. And again, this is the chance of the fire igniting. The fuel is there when you see these colors in the yellows and the oranges. So that is what we'll have to watch out for. Yesterday, we had a fire in Falls County. we'll be watching through the day to see if any others pop up. 96 by noon, 104 by 4 o'clock. It's going to feel as hot as 108 as we hit 104 in Belmead, 106 in West Bell County, sitting at 105 in Belton and Fort Cavazos at 104 in the rest of Central Texas. We could even see a couple of 107s up towards Meridian and towards Hillsborough. High pressure stays in control through the weekend. There are some signs, Joey, that may subside enough to bring in some small rain chances Tuesday, but I don't have any temperatures below 103, so the high heat continues.
Protect the ice.
Protect the ice and protect the ice cream man, too,
Please.
man.
Thanks, Josh. 6:13 now. Kids go back to school in a couple of weeks here, and some experts are expecting an increase in back-to-school spending this year. Amanda Sansone looks at how much more parents are spending and how to save.
New school year, new expenses. Parents are shelling out more cash in 2023 to send their kids back to class. According to a new Retail Me Not survey, the average American household will spend $1,498 on back-to-school supplies, electronics, and clothes. That's $251 more than last year's spending average. Just like with everything else that costs more, experts say parents can blame inflation.
It adds up so fast. It's kind of like Christmas. We're buying 100 different things from 100 different vendors, and it's so easy to lose track.
So, what can you do to save money and avoid a back-to-school spending hangover? Jessica Allen from the website Living Well, Spending Less has 5 tips. 1. Take inventory of what you already have, and then decide what you really need right now, and put the rest on a wish list. 2. Set a budget, and then involve your kids with the shopping.
The easiest way to do this is to give them the cash. This is a life skill. The budgeting is a life skill, and actually paying for items at the counter and interacting with the service staff.
3. Buy in bulk and split the cost with other parents, neighbors, or friends. 4. Stretch those electronics a bit longer instead of splurging on new ones.
Look into items that you can swap or pass down. Is there a graduated senior who no longer needs that graphing calculator?
And finally, wait for the shopping rush to pass.
Wait until your children get into their classes and see what the teacher is actually asking for.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Amanda Sansone.
A desperate search is happening now in Oregon. How police say the suspect was able to abduct a woman and why there could be more victims. 6:15. Is there school? 6:18, guys. You know, it's almost time to go back to school.
Yeah.
Are some kids doing that already?
Some kids are. Marlin started on Monday, Joey, believe it or not. It's insane how early we're going back to school this year, and we are doing so. So if you're at the bus stop this morning, know it's going to be warm, 81. Feel like temperatures this afternoon could reach towards 110 by drop-off. That's 104, your temperature at drop-off. Short sleeves, shorts, water, that's what you need to pack today. We aren't the only ones staying hot today either across the Lone Star State and across the country for that matter. Oklahoma City at 103, Waco at 104, Dallas, Fort Worth at 106, and look out in Phoenix at 113. So it could always be worse, but it feels darn hot here, and unfortunately, it looks like that heat wave is going to continue. I'll have a look at that 10-day forecast, which does feature some rain chances. We'll hope for that coming up.
All right, thank you. It is 6:19, and now to today's top stories. The man behind the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history will be sentenced today. A jury wants Robert Bowers to be executed. He shot and killed 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018. Prosecutors say that he deserves the death penalty because he showed zero remorse and targeted victims because of their faith. The U.S. pulling government employees out of West Africa, where a military coup is underway. All non-emergency embassy personnel and their families must leave. The government's warning Americans to avoid travel to that country. The FBI looking for possible kidnapping victims after a woman escaped from a cinder block cell. Look at this. Authorities say a man posing as an undercover officer abducted that woman last month in Seattle and drove her to his house in Oregon. He's facing several charges. Police are connecting him to sexual assaults in 4 other states. Well, the drought's getting worse across central Texas. In 10 minutes, what people in Bell County are being told to do as Lake Belton hits a new low. You're watching Good Morning Texas. Welcome back. It is 6:25 on the dot this morning, and to celebrate Friday Eve, we're going to give away a 25 News mug.
You know, that sounds like a pretty good plan. Just launching into the weekend early with that. I'm down with that. Hey, let's give it away. Today's winner is Craig Tidsman. Congrats, Craig. we'll let you know you can pick up one of these Good Morning Texas mugs.
If you want one, just go to our website, kxxv.com/contest. You click the mug and give us your email address, and we'll give away another one here on Friday. Yeah, you heard it right. Friday. It's that close, guys.
So close.
So close. So hot outside, but you know that squirrel that I've been telling you about here who likes to play my sprinklers?
Yeah.
The sprinklers were not on yesterday because it was not the day on my address, you know, where I can turn them on.
That's
right.
right.
The restrictions, right? So I'm trying to follow the rules. So the poor squirrel, as a result, he's got no water, so he's digging a hole in the ground, you know, in the dirt, and just kind of laying there with slightly cooler under the surface.
So he's just trying to hide from it.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, I
Hide
hope
from the
that
heat.
he keeps digging, finds that groundhog, and, you know, shows him what's up.
Yeah, that's right.
So that groundhog can at least bring winter early, maybe. I don't know. Anything to stop some of this heat that we're dealing with out there, because another hot one's on the way for today. It's already lower 80s to start the day here as you look at the Syntex Roof Systems camera on the 25 News studio. That's in Waco. Excessive heat warning posted for our northern counties. High temperatures could reach above 105 in those counties. The rest of us have been downgraded to a heat advisory, but that's still dangerous heat because those spill-like numbers, they could reach above 105 and closer to 110. And then on top of that, we have a red flag warning along and west of I-35. This is because conditions will be favorable there for any wildfires that can get started to spread quickly. So we'll have to watch for that this afternoon. Another hot one on the way, 96 at noon, 104 at 4 o'clock. That feel-like number, that could be closer to 108. High pressure's in control right now, and it's going to remain in control through the weekend. There are some signs it may relax enough that by next Tuesday, we can bring in some small rain chances. But other than that, just looks like the heat rolls on. I've got more 105s next week as well.
Oh, goody.
I know.
You know what? Go
So
big or
fun.
go home.
Yeah,
That's what
why
we're
not?
doing here. And we'll be right back.
Connecting Central Texas. This is Good Morning Texas.
A lot of people forget that we are completely dependent on rainfall, and when we don't have it, that is our water supply.
Dry and hot summer taking a toll. Good morning, I'm Joey Horta. Lake Belton here is under stage 2 drought. Mandatory water conservation now in place. 25 News reporter Alicia Despreto has all the details.
A continued drought in central Texas has left Lake Belton 16 feet low.
It is extremely harsh drought.
Water experts in the area say they've never seen it this bad.
It's a first for me. I've been with WCID 9 years that we've had this significant a drought in our watershed. In other words, lack of rain upstream of the lakes that supply our water.
The area entered a stage 2 drought on Tuesday, with the lake now being down almost 40%. Residents in Belton and surrounding cities are asked to limit their usage by 10% to help conserve.
Just cut out any non-essential use. So that would be if you spray off your sidewalk, don't do that anymore. If you have an ornamental fountain, unplug that until the drought's over. You know, those are type of non-essential uses that we're talking about.
The city of Belton has cut their own water usage and reached out to some of the biggest users directly to come up with ways they can reduce as well.
If residents and then the commercial entities and the other, governmental entities, if we all kind of do our part, that we'll get that 10% and, hopefully stretch this out a little bit.
If water is not conserved, it can become a stage 3 drought. Area residents will then be required to reduce use by 40%.
I think the thing that's important to remember, we don't know how long this drought's going to last, right? So let's do some stuff on the front end to make sure that we don't get to the stage 3 restrictions.
In Belton, Alicia Despreto, 25 News.
All right, well, there's a watering schedule in Bell County. Even-numbered addresses can water Sundays and Thursdays, odd numbers Saturdays and Wednesdays. Watering's only allowed between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. All right, let's get back to what's happening out there as you wake up here on this Thursday morning. Hey, Josh.
Hey, good morning, Joey. We are talking about what's going to be another hot one out here across Central Texas. No rain on the way today, and you can see why. The clear skies out there this morning. 78 feeling like 80. We have excessive heat warnings and heat advisories in place. We also have a red flag warning along and west of I-35. Very dry and breezy conditions. That'll be favorable for spreading any sort of wildfires that can get going. We had one yesterday in Falls County. If we get one later on today, there will be the potential for that to spread. So we'll have to monitor that later on this afternoon. I mentioned that excessive heat warning. It's only for our northern counties. Feel like temperatures up to 110, highs exceeding 105. We have been downgraded in Waco, Temple, Killeen to a heat advisory, but the danger still exists this afternoon because feel like temperatures will run 105 to 110. So another day you need to be taking those heat precautions, limiting your time outside. And if you do have to be out in the heat of the day, frequent breaks in the shade. All of us need to be drinking water. We'll be at 96 by lunch rush, 104 for your afternoon commute, and even at dinner time, still dealing with 102. The heat rolling on. Joey, it doesn't show any signs of stopping anytime soon, but I do have a small rain chance on the way. We'll show you when that 10-day coming up.
All right, see you then. 6:33 now, and a young man is behind bars in Killeen after what police are calling the city's 8th murder of the year. Police say 20-year-old Amon Gilbert shot and killed 24-year-old Richard Solomon. The killing happened July 30th at a home on East Rancier.
What I can tell you for certainty is that Texas is going to take this case all the way to the United States Supreme Court to defend the rights guaranteed to us in the United States Constitution.
The governor there not backing down when it comes to those new buoys floating on the Rio Grande. The Justice Department is trying to get a federal judge in Austin to remove the barriers. DPS installed these. They're about 1,000 feet worth of orange buoys in the river. There are also hundreds of feet of razor wire along the shore. The White House says the governor's border response is cruel and inhumane. And right now, an investigation's underway after a body is found stuck in those buoys near Eagle Pass. That is according to the Mexican government. And DPS notified the Mexican consulate about the body. And at this point, the person's identity and cause of death is not clear. The country's credit rating, I should say, is down, and it's starting to have a ripple effect. Ratings are also down slightly for mortgage giants Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. This could make it harder for people to buy a home or even pay their bills. John Lawrence explains.
Fitch Ratings says it had trillions of reasons to downgrade the U.S.'s credit rating. Many of those reasons are green and feature pictures of monuments and former presidents.
The debt to GDP at 113% and growing is clearly pretty alarming. Furthermore, the fiscal deficits are large and again growing.
Another factor that led to the U.S. credit falling from AAA to AA+, partisan bickering in Washington, D.C.
The Democrats have moved left, the Republicans have certainly moved right, and the center has fallen apart. And that just makes making difficult decisions very difficult.
And almost immediately after the downgrade was announced,
on cue, Republicans and Democrats are now blaming each other for the downgrade, essentially.
On Wednesday, one day after Fitch's call, credit ratings for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae likewise slid to AA+, with the yield on 10-year and 30-year treasuries climbing as high as it had been since November. And although mortgage rates rose after the credit downgrade, many economists and analysts are questioning the decision.
Fitch's decision is puzzling in light of the economic strength we see in the United States. I strongly disagree with Fitch's decision, and I believe it is entirely unwarranted.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, unlike the S&P or Fitch, Moody's Investor Service still has a perfect credit rating for the U.S. today. Well, former President Donald Trump is facing a judge today. In 7 minutes, we'll talk to our political expert about what you can expect to happen inside the courtroom this afternoon. Kind of sad when 100 sounds cool, isn't it?
Yeah, 99 sounds cooler.
Doesn't it?
You know what sounds amazing right now?
Yeah.
75.
Ooh.
I mean, we can't even get that in the mornings right now. So, but we know fall's right around the corner. We just got to get through this heat. And Mother Nature's wanting to take its last gasp real hard on us before this really starts to change. So the heat wave continues. I know.
From her, a lifesaver, would you?
Yeah, it would help. It would help. That or maybe some happy pills.
There you go.
Something to help Mother Nature out, because this is ridiculous. 78 feeling like 80 right now as you look at our Syntex Roof Systems camera in Harker Heights. No one dipping into those mid-70s just yet. Everyone in the upper 70s, lower 80s. When you start that warm in the morning, it's going to be a warm afternoon. In this case, it'll be another day of that dangerous heat. Now, the excessive heat warning has been trimmed down from where it was yesterday, and now only includes our northern counties. High temperatures above 105 in those counties. That includes Navarro Hill over towards Bosque, Hamilton, and Mills County. Now, we have been downgraded to a heat advisory in Waco, Temple, Killeen, but the danger is still there this afternoon. Feel like temperatures climbing above 105. Another day where you take those heat precautions, plenty of water, limiting that time outside if you do have to be out in the heat of the day, frequent breaks in the shade. We also have a red flag warning. Yesterday, we had a little fire burn up across western Falls County right here near Eddy. Now, we're going to be monitoring this afternoon because we have the same conditions around where very dry air and breezy conditions will be around that are favorable for spreading wildfires. So we'll watch that this afternoon. As far as your Thursday is concerned, we start here in the 80s. We're in the mid-90s by noon, 104. Later on this afternoon could feel as hot as 108. We'll top out at 104 in Waco. There could be a couple areas making their way towards 107 in that excessive heat warning. Our record will be safe, 108 back in 2011. Future Track does have this high pressure around. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stick with us through the weekend and into next week. There are signs it may relax enough, though, by Tuesday to bring a weak disturbance that could throw out a couple of showers. Notice, though, there's really not much on the map. This is a very small chance. Best chance we've had in a while, and our only chance the next 10 days, but it just looks like this heat wave not going to break anytime soon. On the other side of that rain chance, we're back to 105 again, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the high heat, Joey, it's continuing. I wish I had better news to say. I really do.
I wish you did, too. You want to try again?
Maybe.
All right.
We'll try.
We'll check back later. Well, the state's top cop will be defending himself in court today. In about 10 minutes, the latest on the case against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. It's 6:41. We'll be right back. All eyes are on Washington this morning, where former President Donald Trump is due in federal court. The special counsel charging him with trying to overturn the presidential election. 25 News Congressional Correspondent Stephanie Liebergen live outside the federal courthouse this morning. Good morning, Stephanie. What are we expecting to happen in court today, and what will the security there be like?
Hey there, good morning. Well, as for the court appearance scheduled for 4 o'clock Eastern time today, and we're taking a lot of cues from what happened in Miami and the federal indictment there. So no mugshot expected, no handcuffs, probably some digital fingerprints for the former president. Once we get inside the courtroom, we could see some differences from what we saw in Miami. Remember, in Miami, there were over 30 charges related to the classified documents case. In this case, there are only 4 counts, so we could hear those counts read each off in the courtroom today. Now, the former president likely to get the opportunity to enter a plea. I think it's pretty safe to say he would enter a not guilty plea today. The other thing that can take a little bit of time in the courtroom would be any conditions related to his bond and release. So in Miami, they spent some time talking about special conditions and special regulations and rules that around who the former president could talk to for issues related to that classified documents case. We could see something similar happen today with this January 6th related case, but that's really going to be up to what the defense asked for, what special counsel Jack Smith's teams asked for, and then what the magistrate judge agrees to in that case. As for the security, definitely increased security today, even from just yesterday and earlier this week. The U.S. Marshal Service putting a fence all around this federal courthouse, all around the sidewalk. We're expecting some local street closures, of course, with comings and goings later today. But there's a lot of law enforcement agencies involved in the coordination of this, former president coming to the federal courthouse today. Of course, U.S. Secret Service involved in protection of a former president, but there's also the U.S. Marshal Service for here at the courthouse, Federal Protective Service, U.S. Park Police, U.S. Capitol Police, because the U.S. Capitol building's right on the other side of the street from where we are here. So all of those agencies working together, of course, with D.C. Metropolitan Police as well, coordinating. But according to the Secret Service, their aim, what they're going for today, is to try to minimize minimize the impact and try to make the procedures and everything happening inside the building behind me feel and proceed as normally as possible.
All right, and Stephanie, why was the former president indicted alone without any of his alleged co-conspirators?
So experts believe that what special counsel Jack Smith was doing here in indicting former president alone and leaving those unnamed co-conspirators separate, potentially being indicted on their own later, trying to streamline the case, trying to make sure that this case does move pretty swiftly and gets that speedy trial that special counsel Jack Smith has said that he wants. Only having one defendant means there's fewer attorneys you're working with. You're not going to get motions from multiple defendants. So this is a difference from what we saw in Miami, where the former president is not the only defendant. He does have some co-defendants in that indictment and superseding indictment as well. In this one, it is just the former president, and the best hypothesis here is that the special counsel Jack Smith did that on purpose to try to make sure this case moves along pretty quickly. But all of that is going to depend on kind of the motions that we see from the prosecutors, from the defense, and then of course what the district judge, who will be separate from the magistrate judge today, what she says and what she decides to go for and allow in her courtroom.
All right, all happening this afternoon. We'll have more on that on 25 News Midday. Stephanie, thank you for that live report. In the meantime, here just ahead, an arrest near the border after an infant is found dead in Houston. What we're learning about the suspect in 3 minutes.
And another hot one on the way here in Central Texas. I've got your forecast coming up.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, the latest on the story I know you've been covering. Former President Donald Trump will be arraigned in a few hours on new felony charges that he knowingly lied about the validity of the 2020 election to stay in power. We're going to have full team coverage on that and what he'll face today. Also, high heat and then high gas prices. The link between the soaring temperatures and the rising costs. Is relief on the way? We'll have those stories and so much more on GMA.
All right, let's get a quick check on the weather here before you hit the road.
Yeah, and it's going to be another hot one out there today. Already plenty warm. You need that AC even this morning. 81 now in Waco, 78 Killeen and Temple. That hot spot, Waco and Hillsborough at this time. And your bus stop forecast as you're sending those kids out to the bus stop, temperatures will be climbing up to the triple digits this afternoon. So you're going to need short sleeves this morning. Keep them around through the afternoon as well. Short sleeves, shorts, and go ahead and pack, the 3 waters in the bag because the heat will be holding on. And as you're heading off on your morning commute, expect the afternoon commute to be hot, close to 104 this afternoon. I have some rain chances in that 10-day forecast. We'll look at them coming up.
Okay, Josh. Around Texas, an arrest near Houston after an infant is found dead in a gas station restroom. Police say Guadalupe Zavala Lopez is a Mexican citizen. They caught her at this bus station down in Brownsville Tuesday. She is charged with tampering with a human corpse and is being moved to Harris County. Well, from the courts this morning, the A.J. Armstrong murder trial will be back in session today in Houston. Prosecutors say he killed his parents in 2016 when he was just 16. They were shot to death. Prosecutors played his 911 call in court this week, along with his nearly hour-long interview from detectives. He tells police he had a good relationship with his dad, but had issues with his mom. He claims an intruder killed his parents. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton heads to court today. The criminal case against him dates back to 2015. It's not related to his impeachment trial. There's a hearing today in Harris County over securities fraud allegations. Paxton faces felony charges on claims that he defrauded investors at a tech startup. Now, if convicted, he could get up to 99 years in prison. Paxton's impeachment trial will unfold at the state capitol next month. You can read more about the case on the 25 News app and our website, kxxv.com. Lawmakers hitting the brakes on street racing and street takeovers. Two new measures actually signed into law Wednesday give law enforcement and prosecutors more power to crack down on these dangerous activities and take away cars. Drivers block intersections to perform dangerous stunts. New this morning, the Humane Society of Central Texas is in trouble again. The shelter's full, and now they're facing another serious deadline. Staff telling me overnight that dogs may be euthanized today if they are not rescued soon. You may remember this friendly little pit bull named Gladys. I introduced you to her 3 weeks ago. She is running out of time. Gladys is on the top 10 longest resident list. According to the staff If she and the other dogs are on the list, don't get out of there. By 9 o'clock this morning, they could very well be put down.
We're in dire straits. We're in code red. We're trying to save lives. So we're staying open late tonight for you guys to come on down and foster or adopt.
Same situation happened last week when the community found out. They flooded the shelter lobby, adopting and fostering 14 dogs to save their lives. If you'd like to help out, the staff will be over there by 9 a.m. Just knock on the door. 6:53 now, and here are today's top stories. Capitol Police trying to track down the person behind an active shooter situation reported near the Capitol on Wednesday, forcing Senate office buildings to go into lockdown. Police didn't find anyone with a gun. A young man behind bars in Killeen now after what police are calling the city's 8th murder of the year. Police say 20-year-old Amon Gilbert shot and killed 24-year-old Richard Solomon. That happened back on July 30th, according to police. A dry and hot summer taking a toll on local lakes. Lake Belton's in a stage 2 drought. Mandatory water conservation now in place. Right now, the lake only has about 40% of the water that it can actually hold.
Practices continue on for high school football. Now, looking at Connally, the Cadets had a successful season last year, but according to them, there's always room to grow.
Connally football is back as the Cadets get ready for the 2023 season.
You know, kind of get the chills. You kind of get the chills, and you even remember back to when you did it, when you were in two-a-days and things like that. A little different now. We don't do true two-a-days. But you kind of get those chills and you get excited about it.
Feeling great. Team's looking good. Everyone's healthy. Ready to get back to work and get the season going.
This upcoming season for the Cadets brings change to not just their team, but other teams in their district as well.
Takes a lot to get there. People don't realize that. We play 6 non-district games, so we want to be healthy before we get to district. And our district's going to be tougher this year, way tougher. They're going to be coached better. Kids are going to be better. Their schemes are better. And so we have to really work hard just to get that.
Last season, Connally finished 4-0 in their district and ended up taking the title. That was last year. But this year, the expectations have been set.
We preach that to our kids every day about our goals. Number 1, we want to win a district championship. Number 2, we want to be in the playoffs. Number 3, we want to play on Thanksgiving.
All I can tell you on Friday nights, it's going to be fun, and you're going to see shutouts a lot.
The Cadets' first game of the season will be on the road in a non-district game against the Black Cats on August 25th.
All right, be sure to tune in every 6 and 10 as we highlight more teams up until opening kickoff. That's going to do it for sports. Back to you.
Okay, now we go on to this heat wave that doesn't want to end, Josh.
Yeah, it really doesn't want to end. We have temperatures that are in the upper 70s, lower 80s out there right now. 80 in Waco, 76 at Temple, and 78 in Killeen. You're looking at the Syntex Roof Systems camera here on top of our studios at the 25 News in South Waco. An excessive heat warning posted for our northern counties. High temperatures above 105 in this area later on this afternoon. Officially in Waco, Temple, Killeen, downgraded to a heat advisory, but the danger is still there. Feel like temperatures above 105. We also have a red flag warning. Very dry air, breezy conditions that are favorable for spreading wildfires. We saw one in Falls County yesterday. We're going to have to monitor this afternoon. So do not do anything that could cause extra sparks. No cigarette butts out the window. If you're welding, you might want to avoid that. And you don't want to be dragging any chains along your car either. That can cause some sparks. And just stay vigilant through the day. 104 by 4 o'clock. Feel like temperatures, they're running up towards 108. Our northern counties may actually head above 105 this afternoon. High pressure still in control. That's why we're so hot. There are some signs this may relax early next week, say Monday, Tuesday. That may be the closest we get to a rain chance. After that, looks like we're drying out and we're just going to stay hot again. 105 Saturday, 105 Sunday and Monday, maybe down to 103 on Tuesday. But look at that, Joey. More 105s on the way.
Hey, 103 sound pretty good.
A little better.
Yeah.
Just a smidge.
GMA's next. We'll see you back here at 11. Have a good day.